Hello and welcome to Healing Tips from the Heart, Intuition with Helpers, Healers, and Guides. I am your host, Dr. Lori Hops, licensed psychologist, writer, and artist. I've explored mind, body, and spirit related to intuition, or your personal guidance system, since early childhood. Meet my guests who have learned from their personal and professional lives to explore vast realms of knowing, synchronicities, and overcoming challenges. Their stories may inspire you with tools to enhance your daily living and relationships. Hello, everyone, and welcome my special guest for today, Tamara Friebel. Tamara is a composer and performer from Cohuna, Australia, and she's currently residing in Austria. She has won various awards for her compositions and has studied a variety of topics, including architecture, sociology, and theology at various universities in Melbourne, but has mostly focused on her studies with composition and her choral work. She has a Ph.D. in composition from the University of Huddersfield, and her doctorate. After her doctorate, she's worked with research projects and teaching courses at the university. She has also collaborated with Dr. Phil Mullen, using his innovative work with esoteric practices of healing and dimensional exploration. And together they have spoken word and music accompanying for meditations that are really quite astounding. And we're going to be getting a little bit of a taste of that soon. And I am thrilled to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining.
I'm very, very happy to join you from Austria. Yes, it's quite a treat to come together to talk about this project in particular, which has been, a development of almost just the last year, so it's quite fresh.
And prolific. There's a lot. You have a lot of recordings for just 1 year.
Yeah, that is quite true, actually. It must have been somehow a burst of energy, which just was a field waiting to be heard, perhaps you can put it that way.
I love it. So let's help our audience understand, because I haven't really described much about this. And it is elusive, but there are ways of making it very tangible for people. So where would you like to begin in describing this incredible work that you're doing?
I think it might help just to understand a bit of my compositional background. I've studied a lot in different ways of composing scores, as well as composing tracks with recorded sound. But a lot of my time was spent at the university in Vienna to study and write, for example, in the style of Palestrina, counterpoint choral, or Bach for piano, and then Mozart sonata. And so this history I have of having a score to express and look at different polyphonic potential has over the years kind of given me such a great foundation to then explore things with my own voice and using different techniques which can perhaps come from a level that I wouldn't have known of if I hadn't have done all of this practice. So that's quite an important point. It's a little bit like Phil Mullen has written so many books now. The language is deep within him, or the source in some sense. So I think the moment that we came together, it was quite, I was drawn to this kind of meditations or thinking processes because of this flow. it evolves from itself. And my process in composition has always been about trying to capture a moment of flow, which has a self evolution. And in some ways, we're very lucky because the current technical capacity is that you can record things so quickly. You can create MIDI tracks. You can do a number of technical expertises in order to help you get closer to this flow when it's generated. And in this conversation, like, I just think it belongs to here that because I studied architecture at the same time, I had a very visual and very deep fascination with geometry and how that can be manifested as sound. That's quite a difficult concept, but for me, they're almost inseparable. So an object of geometry speaks in a way to me a particular sound, which is very close to energetic psychology or ideas that have been emerging in the last decade or so.
That it's I'm almost speechless because I understand. I have a layperson's awe of understanding of what you're talking about. So if for those who are unfamiliar with music, the history of music, with meditation, with sacred geometry and architecture, maybe we can offer something very relatable and simple. And the thing that comes to mind for me is a 3D game of chess that is being played by dolphins on a rainbow in the cosmos.
Okay.
So I guess what I'm saying is that there are multiple complex layers within each of the disciplines you've talked about.
Oh, I see, yes.
And so now we're trying to thread them together into this mosaic or symphony. So you have this deep esoteric understanding of consciousness through the Blue Diamond method and other things that Phil Mullen, as a psychoanalyst and an esoteric energy psychologist, has studied throughout his career. And you've come and studied detail of the masters and multiple layering of music and form and patterns and creativity. And then there's the two of you kind of working together to weave these systems. I don't know, maybe I'm butchering it, but this is sort of like the layperson's through
Yeah, no, I think that's a beautiful way to try to thread it in. I think I just wanted to explain at the outset how dynamic the process is, and it's really good to start with more than less, I think. And it is
yes.
true. I think because I've also read my first degree, I read psychoanalytic theory. And so I had always a deep fascination for, also living in Vienna from that kind of understanding of Freud and Jung and how the stream of consciousness is really important.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of engagement that an analytic session at some point would have a language which can get stopped at some point but continues. So that's also to be said. So when we start to bring it all together, if it's as special as a dolphin playing chess, it would scare me because I'm really not good at chess. So, so I leave that to my husband, who's a mathematician. So I have some like boundaries, I think, to where my knowledge sits.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been a really important development in the last years that I've engaged in collaborative thinking. And collaborative thinking doesn't mean that you try to learn everything. It means that you try to engage with someone on a level that you can perceive them without having to dominate their knowledge.
Yeah.
And this is actually a really difficult thing to do. In some ways, I worked in a department with mathematicians for many years, and they know so much compared to me. So it actually is a very quick way to try and release your ego and to say that I don't know quite how to do that. But what I can offer is this. And so what you were suggesting is how it came together was quite profound. I think I'd sent on a file to Phil, and he was quite, he kind of said, oh, that sounds like the primal sound fields.
Mhm.
This, you sound like the instrument and voice of the primal sound fields. And it was quite a different language to what I'd ever heard before, you know, the primal sound fields. And then when I started to research it deeper with Phil and read The Blue Diamond and so on, I did start to understand what he meant by that.
Beautiful. My goodness. Yeah. I mean, isn't that the exciting thing though, when you get experts together in their respective fields and they kind of bounce off of each other creatively? Because you don't need, it's almost like being partially multilingual in an immersion program. You're like, well, I can order food and find out where the lavatory is, and that's about it. And then people come in with, fluency in their domains. But there's, like you said, a flow. There's commonality of maybe energy matching or resonance. And so you're like, I'm not quite sure where I'm going, but let me follow this. And you bounce off of each other, and then it opens
Yes,
doors. Yeah.
totally. You have to have a huge amount of trust in the intuitive process.
Yeah.
And also not to suggest you might even know the outcome, um, which which is easier said than done, actually.
Yeah. That's where
It's a
faith and trust
practice,
come
isn't
in.
it? It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I think that a lot of people are going through that in new ways, initiating into the mystery and the darkness of not knowing where we're
Mhm.
heading as a planet, as individuals, as the collective. But we still, hopefully, still have the motivation to move forward despite that
Yeah, we
fear.
propel ourselves. We propel ourselves with the fascination, like you're fascinated enough to interview me in this process. And it keeps the light, being shared between each of us.
Yes.
Um,
So, yes, and I'm so happy that you're saying yes to the process too. So, for those who don't know, would you like to say a little bit about your understanding of what Phil Mullen's work is, and then maybe how it ties into how you've added and accentuated with your own?
yes, so in specific terms, the blue diamond is, I would say it's a topic that Phil Mullen has been fascinated by for quite a few years before it came into a book form. So it might have been an intuition that he had about this, or he studies a lot of physics and reads very widely. So before it came to book form, it was like this fascination with geometry and how there could be a portal in each human to the unified field in terms of a healing potential for all of us or for an individual. And I think on this level, the sound that I've been working with in terms of trying to find a sound which is connected to a unified field, it closely aligned to this kind of thought process. I've done a lot of writing for orchestra, well, not really orchestra, but orchestral instruments and choral in a very niche genre called contemporary composition, which is quite a niche because you need to hear a lot of literature in order to get into it. But I started maybe 2 years ago a project dedicated to Sanskrit, just me singing with a very different aesthetic actually, and it was a whim that I wanted to follow, and so I started a daily performance for me of different Sanskrit texts, working through what it could mean if I kept following it for a daily process. And this project somehow aligned with the Blue Diamond meditations that I saw online from Phil, because he offers quite a few on his YouTube channel. And for me, what fascinated me was the process of the Blue Diamond guided meditation or the system is an energy flow which takes you through something, if it's enunciated with words or even a feeling. And this meditation practice, also without sound, just with the text, works really well. But I kept on hearing this mantra project that I'd been working on with it. And so this kind of curiosity to try and put them together was quite natural. It was like a self-evolution, just to try it. And the moment we tried it, it just felt really like they belonged together.
How wonderful. What a delightful surprise.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, no, it's really true. It's uncanny when something doesn't take much work. Like, of course, we work hard with everything we do, but then at some point it just comes together and you're like, oh. So Phil would be saying a meditation, for instance, on he would mention something in the meditation about the celestial violin. I would get off the Zoom call. I would get my violin out and I would use that to compose for that track. So I have a lot of instrumental knowledge. I play the violin and the cello, the horn, the piano. So all of these kind of virtuosic elements, just if they want to come out and shine, they can. So that was important too for me as well, to be in touch with the tactility of sound and not just through a MIDI generated sound or something.
Yeah. It's like the physical vibration in the body, creating it in the moment. Yeah. This moves energy in a
Absolutely.
different way.
Yeah, absolutely. And the violin has such a high pitch. And I'd been talking to Phil about this dilemma of he had this vision or somehow this feeling that it was much higher vibrations that we needed for something. And so I thought, okay, well, we can't, okay, let's try and push it higher. And then I got the violin out and I just, yeah, often they're done in one take, which is quite uncanny that it works. Yeah.
How beautiful. Wow. Pure magic and practicality.
Yes. Yeah.
When things like that happen in my life, it feels as if it's almost like the premiere after many years of rehearsal, even though I might be
Oh,
meeting
that's
someone.
so true.
Yeah, doesn't it feel like that? It's like
Yeah.
you've done
Yeah.
all of the backstory and the practice and the fretting and the frustration and then you finally it's like it's the night of the premiere and it's like ta-da! But
Totally.
sometimes that happens the first time you meet someone, the first time you try something. It's as if you're already at the premiere.
Yeah, I wonder, I mean, I think maybe on an energetic level we've met people before. I don't
Yeah.
know if you want to talk at that level, but there is something about shared history on an energetic level. And then when they collide, you can so appreciate all the effort that the other person has put in as
Yes.
well.
Yes. And then it's so familiar.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is effortless. Yeah, it's quite beautiful. I've had that happen many times in my life. And the opposite too, where you are like, why isn't this working with this person? It should work. Like on paper, it should work. And it just doesn't. Like every single
Yeah.
time, it just doesn't. And so I think that that's also kind of like the shadow side of the same dynamic.
Yeah, I
You know,
would say so.
yeah.
And I think even working through the shadow side can come to a different kind of fruitful process. Because you learn maybe how to accommodate, that. But when it does work, it's astounding. So you have this feeling that you don't give up on something, but when something really works, you can appreciate that it comes maybe from somewhere else and not yourself. I mean, I think I've spent a lot of time doing that mantra project, and I'm like, well, what's this going to be good for? What on one level, but it was already really fulfilling for me as a spiritual practice or as to make me a better person. But is that enough? You don't know. Sometimes even this thing you're doing, which you're putting your heart into, you don't know when it might be ready to take on a different transformation.
Oh, thank you for that journey. I feel like I'm right there with you. And, I'm wondering if this might be a good segue. to actually let the audience hear.
I'd just like to play a sample of one of the latest tracks we've done, which is dealing with the theme of clarity.
The music, the voice, the celestial spheres. Vibration, the higher realms of sound, of music, of voice. Cascading through our physical form. Musical instruments that are not of this earth. The voices and language, the angels. And the color blue.
When I hear the track, I just think, oh, I don't really want to speak.
Yeah, it takes us somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a curious thing that we use words to guide our thoughts into a place of peace and overcoming of certain issues, or a way of meditating on a force for good over political problems or something. But the curiosity of this collaboration is that at some time it just takes you back to a place of peace.
We should just be playing it all day and all night. And then see what happens.
Yeah, there's something very, what can I say? It's so succinct how Phil expressed something. And then the Sanskrit allows this clarity to evolve through the vibration, which is such a gift. And that it comes through the human voice. I happen to be the voice that it comes through is really quite a. I feel very lucky.
You are. And we are. It's lovely. It really is. And who doesn't need this, you know? I mean, some people maybe won't resonate with it for whatever reason, and that's fine. But if people do, what a gift. And as I mentioned in the beginning, you have so many, and they're different from each other. Each one, it's almost like different types of candy in a candy store. They're all candy, but they're all different, you know, different colors, shapes, flavors. So sometimes I'll see that there's a new meditation out and advertised, you know, and I'll click on it. And you have been so generous to offer this at no cost with beautiful access for people. So generous. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm busy, and it's probably similar to something I heard before. And then I'll take the time and listen and say, it's different. It's unique.
Yeah.
It's offering something. And often I need to wait for the right timing for it to come to me. It's
That's
not always just
interesting.
because it's available.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, what we tend to put it up when it's done, and then just let it, you know, reach people when it can. And then I try to update the homepage maybe a little bit later to make sure that it's free to download as an audio when people, you know, have the time also to access when they need to, because YouTube always has ads if you're not a subscriber. But it's really great to hear that feedback, because somehow, you know, you release it into the world. It's not like a performance which I'm used to. I have an immediate interaction with my audience. So it somehow takes time to germinate in each person. And if it's challenging or thoughtful to me, I feel that it will also be to someone else.
Yes.
And it is true, they feel different. They do feel like little different creations.
Almost different personalities or personas.
Yeah. And isn't that the depth of, like, you've worked with the blue diamond, isn't that the depth of the facet of it? Like it's like it's reflecting different mirrored attempts of, you know, an icosahedron that wants to reflect on you and me in a different way.
And beyond that, it morphs and changes and grows with each iteration and each time I approach it. So although there is a more constant structure, it's constantly evolving also at the same time.
Is it more that it's responding to also your what you need at the time? Do you find it a very like it can offer something relevant, but it also has this sense of universality as well, if it needs to be?
And even agreed, and even beyond that, I find that it reveals things uniquely each time, not just offering. So it's kind of like going to the cafeteria with an ever-changing menu that suits your needs, even if you may not like the taste, because this may be something that you need. But also it evokes things. And so I'm different each time I show up to it.
That's fascinating. I think for me too, the side of it that's really important with the journey, like as I've been uncovering these Sanskrit texts, they can be deeply challenging. And there can be moments where you think, oh, I'm not sure if I want to face that aspect today. I'm not sure if that's really necessary. But then it will align with something maybe even politically or geographically or in a family situation, which actually helps you unravel something that you might not have been able to. So I find that also very very promising, that it has that potential on an individual basis, but then also as a community. So I think when we released this one called the scapegoat syndrome, that resonated with a lot of people. Immediately you had comments, right? We knew, okay, that was something. And then there's others which take time and you know, they have a different kind of a different field that they're perhaps touching.
Yeah. It's like all the characters at a family reunion. The sleepy aunt in the corner and the hyperactive toddler trying to eat the cake ahead of time. And yeah, it's like all different characters that come on into to visit and how they interact with each other. So I really invite people to explore all the information you'll need to contact to get access will be in the program notes. Well, I have a bit of a personal question, which feel free to answer or not. But you said that you've only really been working with this material for about a year. And I'm wondering if you've noticed any transformation in yourself during that journey compared to, let's say, a few years back, that you might think, oh, I wonder if this collaboration is actually changing me in some fundamental way.
I think, I think the question can be answered on a personal level, and also just on a level which doesn't need to necessarily be deeply personal, because it's just what I observe. It's a catalysm. It's a catalyst for profound healing and profound ways of looking at things if you want to take it. So you're right. If we could have done maybe 3 guided meditations, left it at that. And I think the curiosity was awakened in me to just keep on following where it would lead. And I do think that the world is quite a troubled place, actually, currently. So in some ways, I think that it's been a gift given to us, and I feel lucky to be the instrument, to be one of, to be able to bring this, to light in some ways. And maybe I also feel a sense of responsibility with this work. So the book that Phil Mullen released recently, Physics of the Mind, it's also a beautiful alignment with that work and that literature and how Phil describes it so succinctly. So it feels like it's a very timely tool to have available to us at the moment. And so, of course, it's actually made my life quite different on one level. But I have been, I will be honest, I have done a lot of guided meditation in the past. It's prolific at the moment. There are so many different methods. And also just Sanskrit singing. There's a lot of, we have so much available at the moment. But what struck me in particular with this, and you will know because you've been the president of ASEP, and this organization which has explored technique and things on the edge, would you say?
Yeah,
It's
foundational work and yes, very out there.
it's pushed things to the edge which might be termed esoteric and so on.
Yes.
And I feel like I get pulled into it further and further because it's so fascinating, and it takes you with it, right? You could say, no, I've had enough for now, but it's a process too, and my mind is also fascinated by it. So I do a lot of research too in these topics, also sketching geometries from like what the blue diamond, how it appears to me. And from this sketch, it might emerge a different sound, which I can then use in my contemporary composition practice. So it's transforming on a personal level, also with my particular history and my socialization. I have if you want to have another interview, I have quite a story. I am Australian. I live in Austria. I've lived in the UK, and this idea of sharing 2 languages, German and English, and being in the city of Vienna where Freud was really, very important. And then at the same time, music of like kind of the post-war was really important. So it's quite a different culture to what you would have in America or Australia. So this development too, coming together with the blue diamond tenacity, because it's a theory. It's a really dense theory, which you can go into page after page and research. You could spend time like really analyzing it and getting to know it more and more, but hands-on when you jump into it and just give it a go and want a guidance for yourself that's not really poetic, but life-changing, you will be offered that. And I guess that's what I'm curious about.
I love it. I love it. There's so much creative potential here. I easily could interview you for another hour without a problem. And we are coming to the close of our time this time. But I do want to just add briefly, I have a history background in dance. And
Mm-hmm.
so I can just see this being multi platform, movement and breath and sound and meditation and word and color and art, like all together, like just would be an incredible performance, a performance piece.
It's that's a really interesting intuition you have. I guess if you've been working in movement, yeah, it must just give you this vision of somehow something in space. Is that
Right.
right? Like, yeah. I mean, some of these mantras I've been singing in like at the beach, in the
Mm.
Mediterranean, or and then it will align with one of the blue diamonds, which is trying to get to the bottom of, the darkness of the lake and so on. So there's a lot of that happening. But to actually transform it through a body, yeah, to have that would be another level that could be really fascinating because it's true, the body and how it breathes, how you relate to this replication of the blue diamond being, above you and then below you in the Muladhara, down grounding to the earth. It can be very much mirrored in maybe Carnatic dancing of southern India, which has been uncovered in the last years as well after the British Commonwealth kind of suppressed all of those practices. Yes, I don't know. Your vision might be a seed for someone who's listening.
Yeah,
To
actually the image that came to mind was more like a circus where you are using the full space. You're using the floor, you're using surround sound, you have images or people or whatever coming out from the rafters and down from the ceiling or from the stars, so
Mhm,
that it's
mhm.
this immersive experience of movement. And it could also be communally shared movement so that it's not
Mm.
an audience with performers, but it's collaboration. So, and with AI and as we get more um, familiar with mental states of being, there's just all kinds of possibilities for how this collaboration can expand.
Do
And
you
it may,
feel,
yeah. So anyway, we could
do
go
you,
on and on and
yeah,
on.
do you feel that the idea of being in the same room with these things would be effective for you as
Oh
opposed to
yeah,
hearing a recording? Like, is that something which fascinates you to have an evening of blue diamond
I would love
meditations?
it. It would be
Oh, right.
incredible.
Fascinating, because that would be interesting for me. That's a process of going from recording to, a live situation. Yes, okay.
Yeah. Because of my orientation of a change agent or a catalyst for consciousness and healing, I could see having a dedicated intention from the group for what
Mm,
is going to, you'll have each person will have their own experience, but there could be a theme or an overriding intention of transformational change, and so
mm.
that it's more like a ritual space. And so that then it takes on a whole different feeling collaboratively, because then you can work with each other's energies to to make things
And
happen.
would you imagine that you would still have it through one voice, or it would be through like the voice would have a unified intention? Do you?
Who knows? I mean,
Hmm.
it could be a variety of things. So I didn't expect to go in this direction, but I'm thinking about dance performances that I've seen from, let's say, Martha Graham,
Hmm.
who was able to pull together specific evening of performance where each piece was a standalone, but it also told a story through the evening or through, through the whole performance. And there was juxtaposition and contrast and commentary. You would have to know more about the layering to understand. And so it could be that there's a singular solo vocal, and then there could be like a call and response, or there could be more of an intuitive just sharing of sound. So who knows? And then
Mm.
people could be also doing multimedia of like painting or sculpting at the same time or working with sand, and then people dancing. So like the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Why put limitation on it?
Mm.
Yeah, I just see a lot of creative potential here.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah, it has this feeling of maybe in the 70s it's kind of coming together um, and sharing this creative energy. But to use it, I think I understand that you're having an intention maybe of a healing of for a particular topic or something. Is that right?
It
Like with
could be, it could
a
be. I mean, there's
directed. Mm.
absolutely, it can be. I mean, it's like the way people get together with Reiki and let's say put Reiki energy into a polluted water stream
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and try to clear it,
Yeah.
and so, or went the attention experiments with Lynn Taggart and how they are able to reduce crime in a certain area just by putting
Mm.
intention into that geographic location. So who knows what the potentials are? But I
Mm.
love that we're like opening the doors to
Yeah.
possibility and seeing things in ways that maybe you and I can't even imagine at this point.
It's really
But we are
wonderful. And
coming to the
also,
end of our physical time
mm,
together, at
yeah.
least a pause for now. And I'd like to know, is there anything else you'd like to share as we say goodbye for today?
Um, I think I've really enjoyed this conversation. Just to hear and perceive how a listener is responding to these works. So it's been really fascinating for me. And yeah, thank you for the support for this project. Yes, I'm really touched.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a delight for me to see it come to life in a different way because I've been talking with Phil for many years about his creative pursuits and was one of the behind the scenes cheerleaders saying, "You've got to write the book. You've got to write the book." So, and
Really?
oh, for
For
the Blue
the blue
Diamond,
dot. Oh, feel that long. That's
I've
amazing.
known him, yeah, for 15 years, maybe
Oh
longer.
wow.
Yeah, through ASAP.
That's such a yeah, that's such an incredible thing that you've said, do it, do it.
It has to get into the world. It has to. And there were many blocks and doubts along the way, as there always are for something massive. But anyway,
Yeah.
so I love the collaboration. I love seeing what you've done, and I just really encourage people to discover for themselves, whether it's the videos, the books, the audio, whatever else is going to be created down the line, and to become part of it and make it personal for yourself, whatever it is you can pick up or let go of.
Mm.
So thank you so much. It's been just a delight.
Thank you, Laurie. I've really enjoyed it.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for today's podcast. If you want to learn more, you can visit my website for podcast and resources at hopshealingtips.com. You can also like, share, and subscribe to this channel. This podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only and is not providing healthcare advice. Please seek guidance from your professional healthcare team should you need assistance.